Here are my picks for week 2 of the NFL. Now, just a little recap. Week 1, I got 12 out of 16 correct. And, not to toot my own horn here, but I averaged out the top NFL analysts, and on average, they got 6 wrong, but your girl got 4 wrong in week 1. So, I'm proud of myself. So, here it goes, week 2. Some of these I am not too confident on, and I will let you know the ones that I'm like, could go either way. Kicking off Thursday Night Football on 9/11. I hope that's not a bad omen, but 9/11, we have the Commanders versus the Packers. Now, Jaden Daniels versus Jordan Love. In my opinion, so far this season talking about currently, they are pretty even, I would say, especially offensively. Now, however, I do believe that the Commanders' O-line is a little bit more experienced, in my opinion, and they are playing at in Lambeau Field. So there's another thing to consider. However, and there's also some injuries that have been reported, and the Packers have home field advantage, like I said, and are favored by 4 points. But until Thursday's final injury report, there's 2 offensive line starters that are questionable. Zach Tom and Aaron Banks both are listed as DNP, so we'll have to see. So next we have the Giants versus the Cowboys. Again, rivals of the NFC East battling it out again. Honestly, it's a tough one for me, but Russell Wilson versus even Jackson Dart versus Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott really showed improvement. I was actually very surprised during the Eagles game. And, the Dallas defense only allowed the Eagles to put up 24 points. So I'm going to go for sure with the Cowboys on week 2. Now we have the Seahawks versus the Steelers. They're both Steelers are coming in from a win, and the Seahawks are coming in from a loss. And to be honest, I really think that Aaron Rodgers had that steam going into, the Jet Stadium, and he just wanted to prove to everybody. However, I feel like Sam Darnold on the Seahawks, he has more to prove coming in from a loss. So even though the Steelers are playing at home, I'm going to go with the Seahawks on this one. I'm going to take a flyer and go with the Seahawks, but that game can go either way as well. However, we're just going to have to see. Rams versus the Titans. Now, an experienced Matthew Stafford versus Cam Ward. Cam Ward did not do very well in his NFL debut. It was definitely not like we saw in preseason, so I'm definitely going to go with the Rams on this one for sure, without a doubt. Rams all the way. Now, Bills versus the Jets. Obviously, I'm biased here. I'm going with the Bills, but even if I wasn't a Bills fan, I would still go with the Buffalo Bills. The Jets are on fire with their new coaching staff, and I feel like they are gaining momentum. But again, this is the AFC East battling it out. But even though they are traveling, I'm still going to say the Bills, obviously, all the way. Patriots versus the Dolphins. Another team for me that's pretty on the same level. To be honest, I feel like Patriots are over the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins are more experienced than the Patriots currently. But Tua taking zero accountability for last week's terrible performance was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, okay? I don't understand. Like, he threw 2 interceptions, and that is all on you, bro. That is on you to hit your targets, make those completions, and he had one of the worst passer rates in week 1. So I don't want to hear it. Patriots all the way, for sure. Now, next we have the Jaguars versus the Bengals. This one is going to be a good game to watch. I love Trevor Lawrence. I love Travis Hunter. However, I feel like since Joe Burrow is coming in from a slight win against the Browns, they obviously made some mistakes. He's got a chip on his shoulder. They're playing at home, and I feel like the Bengals are going to take this one ultimately. 49ers versus the Saints, and some of these I am picking favorites. Oh my God, I'm picking favorites, but it's what I believe who are going to win, okay, versus watching the highlights. If I didn't watch the entire game on my Superbox, because I was able to flip back and forth, no network blackouts, I was able to watch pretty much every single game. But the ones that I didn't, or I really didn't pay attention to, I made sure to watch all the highlights and look at the starters, look at the O-lines and the D-lines, and see how they would match up against each other. So I'm not just picking favorites. I am genuinely, truly doing so much research into this. Okay. Having said that, obviously the 49ers, I mean, the Saints are looking absolute dog water, and even though Brock Purdy does have an injury, he has a shoulder and a toe injury, better call it toe check, so I don't think he's going to be starting. Also, Dan Kittle got injured this early in the season with a hamstring injury, so we probably won't even see him, if at all, this season, later in the season. So I feel really bad for him. Having said that, I still believe that the 49ers are going to take that with their unstoppable defense. Nick Bosa literally was the fuel behind their defense in week 1, and it was so impressive. I'm just glad we have a Bosa brother. I'll even take a Bosa sister. Browns versus the Ravens. Now, the Ravens are favored by 11 points in my region for a good reason. Obviously, the Ravens defense allowed the Bills to put up 41 points. However, the Browns struggled tremendously, even putting up 17 points in week 1. And the Ravens are playing at home. There's just absolutely no way. Ravens for sure by a long shot. Okay, Bears versus Lions. This one is iffy for me, okay? I feel like the Lions now have a chip on their shoulder going into week 2 from a loss from the Green Bay Packers, and also the Bears too are coming in from a loss from the Vikings. However, Caleb Williams showed signs of struggle within the fourth quarter. Like, there's 4 quarters in the game, it just doesn't end in the third quarter, and I don't see them pulling through on an experienced Lions D-line and also O-line. However, the Bears defense, their blitzes against the Vikings were pretty lethal, okay? So Jared Goff needs to get rid of the ball as fast as possible and hit those targets, but the Bears are going to be on Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to be on David Montgomery. They're going to be on them because they didn't even allow. Justin Jefferson got hardly any yardage. I think it was like 48 yards last game. They did not let that kid run the ball at all, and that's their star player. So and they're playing at Ford Field, so I'm going to go with the Lions on this one. Broncos versus the Colts. Now, this one, another one that's questionable for me because Bo Nix didn't play too well last week. However, they still won, and the Colts are also coming in from a win from week 1. But I feel like the Colts will pull through about this, and they're playing at their home stadium. So the Broncos are favored by 2 points in my region, but I'm going against the favorite, and I'm going to pick the Colts. Next, we have the Panthers versus the Cardinals. Cardinals. I have nothing constructive to say about the Panthers, about Bryce Young, other than the fact that that man just needs to go into early retirement. He needs to find a hobby, another side hustle, and just do good at that, okay? Because Cardinals. All right, moving on. Eagles versus the Chiefs. Now we have a Super Bowl rematch, baby. And obviously, I loathe the Chiefs, okay? And Jalen Carter is coming back in because he had a 1-game suspension for spitting at Dak Prescott after Dak Prescott spit at his feet. So the media didn't show that one, did they? No. But I feel like they're going to play The Eagles are going to play extra hard, and so are the Chiefs. The Chiefs are playing at Arrowhead Stadium. So, this one could go either way. However, something is telling me that the Eagles are going to pull through on this one. But this is another one that could literally go either way. I'm predicting a lower scoring game. I might bet, I'm not sure what the over-under is, but I might bet under on this one, but I'm going with the Eagles. Going to lock my answer in. Falcons versus the Vikings. Falcons are coming in from a very, very minimal loss towards the Buccaneers, and the Vikings are coming in from a win from the Bears. However, McCarthy is a brand new, spanking new rookie quarterback, okay? And he, did okay for his NFL debut. However, they didn't do that well, and I think that the Falcons, Penix showed not only that he's just, he can hit those targets, he can, escape the blitzes. Also, the fact that there are multiple different targets that are good for Penix, and those targets showed versatility within their rushing yards too as well, because they also, not even pass yards, but also rushing yards too. So I'm going to go with the Falcons on this one. Going to lock that answer in. Now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Houston Texans. Obviously going to go with Tampa here, even though they're playing in Houston. Okay, they're playing in Houston. But CJ Stroud, very unpredictable quarterback. He is just not experienced. Baker Mayfield is my man. And I just don't see them winning over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Bucks, lock that answer in. Chargers versus the Raiders. This is another one that's because I love what the Raiders are concocting. I'm living for it, because they have Tom Brady, new co-owner. They have Chip Kelly. They have Pete Carroll as a new head coach. Ashton Gentry, Geno Smith. Then they have Kenny Pickett as a backup. They are set up. And Max, you can't forget about Max. He really helped with their defense. He is the machine of their defense. And I just don't think... I think that the Raiders are going to win this one, okay? They're playing at home, and I love Justin Herbert. I do. However, I do think that the Raiders are going to get this one, which I think the Chargers are a 3-point favorite, so I'm going against the favorite and going with the Raiders. Lock that in. Okay, there you have it for my picks for the week. Come back Monday to see if I'm correct, and I will be doing an update video on that. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. It really, really helps me grow this channel. I appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your day, and let me know if I'm wrong. Please let me know what I was wrong about in my picks. Who would you pick over me? And there you have it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Be easy.